Alrighty, we are joined by Red Sox reliever John Schreiber. Best pitcher last year, right? It's you and Walker, I think. I think for the crown for best Red Sox pitcher. How cool is that?
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
I mean, growing up, you got to be like, there's going to be a year I'm the best pitcher on the Red Sox. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, the past couple of years before coming over to Boston, it definitely felt good to, you know, finally feel some success, on the major league level. So it felt really good.
Absolutely. How's it being a dad so far? You're a new dad, right? Very
Yeah,
new dad.
very new dad, born on the 19th.
Oh,
It's
very new.
exhausting.
Wow.
So we're pretty exhausted.
Okay, but it's been good so far. I mean, Joey's a dad. I'm the only non-dad in
Yep.
here. So how's it going so far?
Oh, it's going great. We're having fun. We're learning, every day on, how to take care of my son. So
Yeah, people give you a long leash with that. You'll be surprised. It'll be like 9 months. People will be like, "Oh, you getting any sleep yet?" Like, really milk it for everything you can.
It's worth it. You got to milk
Yep.
it. So we realized we did some research, John, and we saw that you shaved about mid-August last year.
yeah,
And leading up to that, the 2 weeks leading up to this is the advanced stats that we do on the ITM podcast. So the 2 weeks leading up to that, you had an 8 ERA, and the 2 weeks after you had a 0 ERA. Was there
after
anything after
after
you
I
shaved?
shaved.
Was there anything to that?
Yeah, I think I realized that, I was hitting a bump in the road and I was like, let's change something up. And then, you know, but I don't think I like shaving my face that much. So I don't think I'm going to be doing that at all
I'm happy
next
it's
season.
back.
So
Yeah,
yeah, me too.
the beard being back is good. So I'm glad that that's going to be the case in 2023. So we'll start at the beginning of your Sox time. You were claimed by the Red Sox in February of 2021, but you weren't consistently up with the big league team until May of this past season. What's been the hardest part of the journey? Because obviously you've had time before the Red Sox, but what's been the hardest part of getting to a point where you probably feel okay, I belong at the big league level?
I think any challenge any pitcher or position player has in the minor leagues is just, getting the opportunity to show yourself in the major leagues. And luckily I got that my first year, I believe, with the Red Sox with the COVID going on. And, I was up for about a week during that season and, pitched, I think, 3 innings that season. And, going into the 2022 season, I kind of realized that I needed to be doing more throwing wise coming into spring training because my first year, with the Red Sox at spring training, I came in, I was throwing 88, and I was like, this is not gonna do it,
Yeah.
So, I ramped up throwing that next off season and came in throwing harder and stuff like that. And um, you know, once you get that opportunity, the biggest challenge is trying to, maintain that success if you have some, right off the get go and try and build up a little streak just to show them that, you belong here. And, I felt like I was able to do that last year and, got along with the guys really well and, gained trust, Cora gained trust and, all the rest of the veteran guys, they liked me over there. So, I mean, that was a big part, in the 2022 season. So,
So, what was the moment that you realized you had major league stuff? Because I imagine there's kind of two answers to this. Because there's probably the moment in college where you think I probably got a shot at getting drafted, but I'm more interested in, like you said, the last couple of years, that find it moment when you realize I think I'm going to stick around in the bigs.
um, yeah, I mean, in AAA, once I started, finding each season that I was having, really good years, back to back and double A, triple A, whatever it is, I felt like, okay, there's a next step, I belong at the next level. And, I think the biggest challenge for me was, I knew that I had major league stuff. It's just like, I always say this, it's just finding that confidence, you know, once you get there. Because if you don't have confidence going up there, then you're not going to have success. But once you realize, I'm a major league pitcher and I can get these guys out, that's when everything clicks and you're like, oh, okay, I'm having fun now. And, you start seeing success at the major league level. You're having fun. You're like, all right, well, I'm a big leaguer. So,
Yeah. So without getting too deep into like the specifics and stuff, how did you increase your velocity as dramatically as you did? Because you had a major uptick. You said you came in at 88
yeah,
in spring training.
21, I believe I came in, I was throwing 88. I think the big part of that was just not doing enough throwing in the off season. Um, you know, I was talking to Austin Bryce that 21 season when we were both in AAA, and we were just talking about, what are you doing this off season to get ready for next season and all this stuff. And I remember talking to him, and he was like, yeah, the place where he's working out, I think he said Max Scherzer was working out there, and he's like, yeah, Max Scherzer, he takes 1 or 2 weeks off and he gets going. And last offseason, that's kind of what I did, and saw some success coming into spring training, and that's kind of what I'm doing this offseason. And I feel like I'm doing a little bit more just because I've thrown way more bullpens than I did last offseason, and I'm excited to get going and see what I can do and see what the Red Sox can do this season. So.
I feel like the position you're in, and we talked about this after the Matt Barnes move, DFA, and then eventually the trade yesterday. I feel like the middle reliever position gets the least credit. I think you're in a position where, like, regardless of what you do, I'm not even saying you specifically, because I used you as the example of, like, you basically have to have a season that Schreiber just had, or else it's not. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, Barnes again, this guy sucks, even though he'd go into that outing with 9 shutout appearances in a row. Like, do you think that's kind of the role that you have to play? It's like, I got to be dominant night in and night out to get the respect of these fans.
That's why I love this fan base, is because, they hold all the players accountable. They want to, win a championship. We want to win a championship too. And in order to do that, we all have to succeed and win as many games as we can. And you know, they're going to get on you when you're doing bad, and the crowd's going to go crazy when you're doing good. So I guess you got to reap the rewards. So that's why I love this fan base, because they hold you accountable, and you strive to get better and better each day, and bring a championship to this fan base. So yeah.
How was last season for you, just personally? I know it was, it was a huge deal just to see as a fan. I know we embrace you on this show. We spoke very highly of you every time. And I even gave you the nickname, the janitor, because you just come in and clean up everybody's mess. First off, is that you like that nickname, the janitor, or probably not? Because then that means that the other guys are not doing a great job.
I love all nicknames, just because I never have any nicknames. So any nicknames you got for me, throw them at me, and I'll love every one of them.
Okay, so the janitor's sticking around. That's fine. But no, I am just curious of how, it's just such a weird year for the Sox, right? So many ups, so many downs. I'd probably say a few ups, maybe not so many ups. But how was it for you? Having the season you had, I think it was exactly a 2.22 ERA, even though there's a lot of times where the team wasn't really thriving.
Like I said, the first 2-3 weeks, that I got called up, is kind of like, I don't know, in my head, you kind of like walk on eggshells, because you're trying to prove everybody wrong that you belong here. And, like I said, once you get comfortable, then you start having fun and all this kind of stuff. And the role that Cora had me in last year, I was just having a blast out there, coming in to help our guys out and coming in big situations. And, we got deeper into the season, and, we were sticking right there, in the wild card hunt. And, just some injuries happened, and, we were trying our hardest to stay in it and all that kind of stuff. So just everybody was trying to, keep their heads straight and keep grinding. And, that was what we were doing all season last year. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get a playoff spot. And, this season I think is going to be different, and we're going to be, better. We're going to have, some great new additions, and it's going to be a fun time this season.
One thing specifically with you that I love is the yell. I love the yell coming off the mound. I think it's some guys do it and they force. I'm not a Marcus Stroman guy. I feel like he just always flips out all the time, and we've figured out any past differences, so we're past it. But I feel like when you're yelling off the mound, it just comes out of you. I don't even know if it's like a planned thing, but I guess just take me through the art of the yell, because I think you have two different versions. I think there's the yell when you get out of a okay situation, maybe a guy on second, but you came in with 2 outs. Then there's the yell where you came in with second and third, no outs, you got out of it, and you do the yell glove slap, which is the double combo. So is there a difference in your head between the yell and the yell glove slap?
You know, I mean, there is a big difference, but, like you said, it just comes out of me. And like I keep saying, it's just that confidence, man. And, I get so excited when I'm having fun and coming in big situations. And, one game absolutely one of my favorites, well, 2 of them, we were playing the Cardinals and struck out the side with Arenado and Goldschmidt and then the game in Houston, those 2 games really stick out to me. Those were, you know, most adrenaline running through me. So
So it just comes out like, because the glove slap does not happen all the time. I noticed you don't always do the slap, but I feel like if Schreiber does the glove slap, it's a huge deal. Like you got out of a real tough situation. So you're saying it
yeah,
just happens. It just happens naturally.
yeah, it just happens naturally. Maybe the glove slap comes in. If I come out or come in for a second inning and kind
Yeah,
of getting
true.
tired and trying to work through it and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of that rewarding kind of yell thing, amped up. Like we're getting to the ninth inning here. Let's bring in Houck or whoever.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
So you started putting more emphasis on your two-seamer not too long ago, and I've heard you attribute some of your success to that pitch. When other guys in the bullpen are seeing that you got a pitch that's really working for you, are they picking your brain and maybe trying to adopt that pitch into their arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, we're all, we had Tyler Danish, me and him were sidearm guys, and, we got a couple more I think we picked up coming for the 23 season. I think we all kind of pick each other's brains, what's working against these guys, and having that two-seamer and four-seamer mix really helped me a lot. And mixing two-seam in, coming with a slider off of that, and going back up top with a four-seamer, that's I've found a lot of success with that. And you know, talking to Danish and a couple other sidearm guys, um, yeah, we kind of figure out what's working, you know, that season or that team or that hitter. So yeah.
There's going to be a couple new faces out there this year too. Is there anybody in particular that you're excited to get to know and get to work with out in the pen?
I'm excited to work with everybody. Like I said, excited to pick everyone's brain, coming from new organizations, seeing what's working for them. So it's going to be exciting.
So you got to play in the Little League Classic against the O's this past season. I am curious because we talk about this on Twitter a lot, but I've never asked a player this. Is there like a special event game that you would want to play in that maybe exists or doesn't exist? I know Field of Dreams obviously comes to mind, but if you could have like another special event game that you could play in, is there any that comes to mind?
Um, Not necessarily. I mean, I think going overseas would be pretty cool, like over in
Yeah.
Japan. I know they went to the UK, I believe, a couple of years
Yep.
back. I think that would have been cool to go to for sure. But yeah, I was able to one spring training with Detroit. I was able to go to the Dominican Republic. That was pretty cool. So I think playing any games overseas is a fun time. So
I'm pulling for the Cape. I want a Cape League game. I want an MLB game at a Cape League park. Everyone says that the capacity wouldn't work, but I'm like, how many people were at the Little League Classic? There was probably like a couple thousand kids, right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So the capacity shouldn't really matter. I feel like the Cape League
No,
thing
and especially in that situation, it was just really fun just because it's all about the kids, for that game and, those few days. So it was really, really cool to see those kids smiling, being excited to see everybody. So yeah, that
especially
was
during that part of the season. It was probably not. I mean, you guys, that was the dog days of summer. Obviously,
yeah,
things weren't going the way you wanted. That had to be nice. I mean, these guys look at you like you're their heroes because that's what you guys are. So that must have been pretty
right.
cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. Not every, kid in the Little League Classic knows who you are. They tend to know, the Rafi Devers and all those kind of names, but it's still cool to, see them excited, you know, for them to get to see major league guys, and
Did you get
that's their
recognized?
dream. I don't think so.
Oh, you got come on. This is we're talking a 2 ERA here, kids.
Kids, we got to step it up.
What are we doing? Come on. That's on the New England team. We'll make sure next year's representative knows Johnny Schreiber. But I was going through the stats, and you were one of 8 AL pitchers with 60 plus appearances and a sub 2.30 ERA this past season. Half of those guys were closers. I am curious from your perspective. You had 8 saves last year. What's the biggest difference? And coming into that game when you need to be the last guy that ends it versus when they've had you come in all sorts of situations just to keep the Sox in the game.
That's why I loved my role last season, just because every situation that I came in, even if it was closing out a game or whatever, the importance of it was like the same to me. So I mean that's how it should be. Um, you know, so every moment I went out there is like this is, for a win, or it's to get the next guy out of the bullpen in there and fresh. So I
Mm,
mean, all of them mean the same to me. So
yeah, no, I hear you, but it's still, I mean,
and
that
that's
was,
just because I mean it's obviously major leagues is different than the minor leagues, but my minor league career I closed a lot coming
yeah.
up. So I mean, but that's why I feel like it's the same, because when you get put in the seventh inning and you're up 1 run and you're facing 2, 3, 4 hole, I mean it's the same importance.
In your head, is it ever, so you don't put any added stress or anything? I know a lot of guys say, oh,
No.
it's, say it's just, I'm out here to do my job. That's it.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good one. I saw you ordered the Air Monarchs in preparation for being a dad. I am
Yeah.
curious because I've heard from dads that they're the most comfortable shoes they've ever had. Can you
I
confirm?
I actually wore them a couple days ago, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, "These are the most comfy shoes I ever walked in my entire life."
So they are some of the best kicks you've had. I know they get ripped a lot, but style wise, maybe they're not up there in the top 10. But seems like comfort wise, they are.
Yeah, comfort-wise, if you're a dad, like, who cares what other people think, you know? Or if you're married, like, who cares if you're comfortable?
It's
Like,
the name of the game.
it's all that
Yeah.
matters. Yeah.
Yeah, got to keep the shoes on in the house because one day there's going to be like Legos strewn across the floor.
Yeah,
That's what my place looks
exactly.
like now. My guy's like 2.5, so you got to get ready for that.
Yep.
You got expectations for yourself this season or any specific goals personally?
Just, my main goal this offseason was, have the mindset of, keeping the same mindset I had in 2022 during the season. So going into spring training here in the next week or two, I feel like I have that right now, and it's my body feels the same, and arm action and command. So my expectations are just to feel as strong as I did last year and get stronger as the season goes on. So,
I am curious from your perspective. Do you think we've gotten a little out of hand with some of the stats for baseball players? Like I always say in this show that I'm not the smartest one, so I just say Fort Borp Zorp just to kind of make fun of the stat nerds. Do you think as a player it's gotten a little bit excessive in terms of like, God, they're really pinning me in a corner because of my, the FIP is this, or you go down the list and it's like, I'm not that guy. Like I'm better than this, or I'm maybe in some stat makes you look better than you are. I don't know. They're all over the place to me. I think some are very valuable, but as a player, do you think we've gotten a little bit crazy with the advanced stats?
I think for some of them, for sure. I know this past year or past couple of years, one of the stats that, I never really looked at, throughout my career was the expected stats. And last year was the first time me looking at that kind of stuff. And, I don't really believe in expected statistics because, you know, baseball is a mental game and things can flip on a switch, you know what I mean? So, every guy's different, every pitcher's different, every position player is different. It could be one small thing or adjustment that could make them click, and then your expected stats are going to change immediately. So,
Yeah,
well, not
there's a-
immediately, but
but this is a lot. It's I don't know.
The
I'm
expected
lost.
stats have never.
there's way too many factors. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my opinion on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's a good way to look at it. So we're going to end on this. We always ask any of the players that hop on the pod a trivia question about themselves. Now, this one's actually kind of difficult, and if you get it exactly right, I'd be absolutely stunned, but going to ask it anyway. So you've pitched in 34 games at Fenway Park in your career. Can you guess what your Fenway ERA is? Or anywhere, if you're ballpark, then it counts as getting it right.
My Fenway ERA. You said I had a 2.2.
You had a 2.22 last year overall.
I'm gonna guess a 1.1.
1.46. 1.46. So now we got to get it down to a 1.1. That's basically how that. That's
Those
basically how
those
that
are my
goes.
expectations now.
Yeah, I didn't say the Yankee Stadium one. I think that's at like
Expected ERA.
7. I think the Yankee Stadium's at 7. So I don't know what's been going on there. Is it hard to pitch at Yankee Stadium for you, or what are your thoughts of that stadium? I hate it personally.
I don't think it's hard to pitch there at all. I mean, it's the same environment you're gonna have, I feel like, at Fenway. The fan bases they expect so much of their team and players, and they're all gonna be loud, they're all gonna be chirping and all that kind of stuff. So but yeah.
I'm sure you hear some things at Yankee Stadium just having the
Oh,
Red
yeah.
Sox jersey on. Yeah. That's always going to be endless critique. But Johnny Schreiber, really appreciate you hopping on the ITM podcast. When are you heading to Fort Myers? A couple weeks?
I should be driving down next Friday, so
Okay.
gonna be packing here this weekend and slowly get everything going and spend as much time as I can with my wife and son. So
I know. Geez, it is a quick turnaround, right? It's not going to be like
Yeah,
a
quick
month
turnaround.
into his existence. You're like, I got to go play ball.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Enjoy this. But really appreciate it, man. I'm sure we'll see you at Fenway Park this season.
All right, thanks, guys.